The ship was dying, and Marcus Cole knew it. Red warning lights flashed across every screen in the cockpit. Alarms screamed so loud that Marcus could barely hear himself think. The ISV Prometheus, a vessel that had carried him and his crew across 3 star systems, was breaking apart around him. Hull breach in sections 4 through 7, the ship's computer announced in its calm, emotionless voice. Life support failing. Recommend immediate evacuation. Marcus did not need the computer to tell him that. He could feel the ship shaking beneath his feet. He could see the cracks spreading across the observation window. He could smell the burning metal and melting wires. He was the last one alive. Captain Singh had died when the engine exploded. Dr. Rice had been in Section 4 when the hull ripped open. Engineers Park and Williams had tried to seal the breach and failed. Marcus had watched them get pulled into the vacuum of space through a security camera. Now he was alone. Alone on a dying ship in an uncharted system. Thousands of light years from Earth. He ran through the shaking corridors, bouncing off walls as the artificial gravity flickered on and off. His breath came in short, painful gasps. Blood ran down the side of his face from a wound on his head. A piece of metal had struck him during the first explosion, and he had not had time to treat it. The escape pod bay was just ahead. Marcus could see the door, dented but still functional. He slammed his palm against the control panel and stumbled inside as the door slid open. There were 6 escape pods in the bay. Only one was still intact. The others had been damaged by the explosions or had already launched automatically when their sections lost pressure. Marcus did not know if anyone had been inside them. He did not have time to check. He threw himself into the remaining pod and sealed the hatch behind him. His fingers moved across the launch controls with desperate speed. The pod systems came online, running through pre-launch checks that seemed to take forever. "Come on," Marcus whispered. Come on. The ship shook again. Through the pod's small window, Marcus could see pieces of the Prometheus floating away into space. The beautiful vessel that had been his home for 2 years was now nothing more than debris. The pod's thrusters fired. Marcus was pushed back into his seat as the small craft shot away from the dying ship. Seconds later, the Prometheus exploded. The blast wave hit the pod and sent it spinning wildly through space. Marcus grabbed the manual controls and fought to stabilize the craft. Warning lights flashed on the pod's console. The blast had damaged the navigation system and the communication array. He was flying blind, unable to call for help, unable to even know where he was. But there was something ahead. A planet. The pod's basic sensors showed a world with a breathable atmosphere and moderate temperatures. It was a miracle. In all the vastness of space, he had found a place where he might survive. The pod entered the planet's atmosphere. Fire surrounded the small craft as it plunged downward. The heat shields held, but barely. Marcus could feel the temperature rising inside the pod. His suit's climate control system was working hard to keep him cool, but something was wrong. The system had been damaged during the escape. The pod broke through the clouds. Below, Marcus could see a landscape of green and blue, forests and lakes and mountains. It looked almost like Earth, but different. The colors were slightly wrong. The shapes of the trees were strange. The pod's landing thrusters fired, slowing his descent. But they cut out too soon. The pod hit the ground hard, bouncing and rolling across soft earth before finally coming to rest against something solid. Marcus sat in silence for a long moment, breathing heavily. He was alive. Against all odds, he was alive. He opened the pod's hatch and crawled outside. The air was warm and thick, filled with unfamiliar smells. Strange plants surrounded him, their leaves glowing faintly in the darkness. 2 moons hung in the sky, one large and pale, the other small and blue. Marcus tried to stand, but his legs gave out beneath him. The wound on his head was worse than he had thought. Blood continued to flow down his face, dripping onto the moss-like ground. His vision was blurry. His body felt hot, too hot. He reached up to touch the wound and winced at the pain. He needed medical attention, but the pod's medical kit had been destroyed in the crash. He needed to contact Earth, but his communication equipment was useless. He needed help, but there was no one to help him. His suit's climate system made a grinding noise and then stopped working entirely. Within minutes, Marcus was drenched in sweat. The planet's warm night air was comfortable, but inside the damaged suit, he felt like he was being cooked alive. With trembling hands, he removed his helmet. Then his gloves. Then, piece by piece, the rest of his suit. His uniform underneath was soaked with sweat and blood. He pulled that off too, desperate to cool down. The fever was getting worse. Marcus knew that was a bad sign. Infection, probably. The wound on his head had been exposed to who knew what kind of alien bacteria. His body was fighting something, and he was not sure if it would win. He tried to crawl back toward the pod, thinking he might find some supplies inside. But his arms gave out after just a few meters. The world spun around him. The strange plants and alien moons blurred together into a swirl of colors. Marcus collapsed onto the soft ground. The moss-like plants cushioned his fall. They were warm and gentle against his bare skin. It was almost comfortable. His eyes began to close. He knew he should stay awake. He knew that falling asleep with a head wound was dangerous. He knew that he was alone on an alien planet with no supplies and no way to call for help. But his body would not listen to his mind. The exhaustion was too strong. The fever was too high. The darkness was too welcoming. As consciousness slipped away from him, Marcus thought he saw lights moving in the trees. Small, flickering lights like fireflies, but brighter. They seemed to be coming closer, but he was too tired to care. Too tired to be afraid. Too tired to do anything but let the darkness take him. Marcus Cole, commander of the HFY Prometheus, survivor of a disaster that had killed his entire crew, fell asleep naked on the surface of an alien world. He did not see the figures that emerged from the forest. He did not hear their quiet, chittering voices as they surrounded him. He did not feel their gentle touches as they examined his strange, pink body. He simply slept, unaware that his life was about to change in ways he could never have imagined. 6 months had passed since the crash. Marcus stood at the window of his quarters in the Coalition's central station, a massive structure that orbited the Velith homeworld. His reflection stared back at him, dressed in the flowing robes of a Coalition diplomat, a far cry from the torn uniform he had worn when he first woke up on an alien planet. So much had changed. So much was still changing. The Velith had repaired his communication equipment weeks ago, and his message had finally reached Earth. The response had been immediate and overwhelming. Humanity had not even known that intelligent alien life existed, and now they learned that one of their own had become the most important figure in an interstellar coalition. Ships were coming. Scientists, doctors, diplomats, and soldiers. The first official contact between humanity and the rest of the galaxy was about to happen, and Marcus would be there to welcome them. A soft chime announced a visitor. Marcus turned. As Kethra entered the room, the Velith scientist who had become his closest friend in this strange new life. "They have arrived," Kethra said. "The human fleet emerged from transit 10 minutes ago. They are approaching the station now." Marcus felt his heart skip. How many ships? 12. A mix of military and civilian vessels. Kethra made a sound that Marcus had learned to recognize as a smile. They came in force. They were not taking any chances with your safety. They didn't need to worry. The Morthacs have been guarding me like I'm made of gold. To them, you are worth more than gold. You are worth more than anything. Marcus walked with Kethra through the station's curved corridors. Aliens of a dozen species stepped aside as they passed, some bowing their heads, others simply staring. Marcus had grown used to the attention, but it still made him uncomfortable. He was just a man, a survivor who had gotten lucky. He did not deserve worship or reverence. But he understood now that it was not really about him. It was about what he represented: hope, change, a future where bodies did not have to stay broken. The docking bay was enormous, large enough to hold several ships at once. A crowd had gathered to witness the historic moment. Velith, Morthax, and species from across the coalition stood shoulder to shoulder, waiting to see the humans who had sent their impossible healing child into the stars. The largest of the Earth ships connected to the docking port. Marcus watched as the seals engaged and the airlock cycled. His hands were shaking slightly. He had not seen another human face in 6 months. He had not heard another human voice except in recorded messages. The airlock door opened. A woman stepped through, tall and confident, with short dark hair and sharp eyes. She wore a captain's uniform, and she carried herself with the authority of someone used to command. Behind her came others, men and women in various uniforms and civilian clothing, all staring at the alien crowd with wide eyes. The captain's gaze found Marcus immediately. She walked toward him, her boots clicking on the metal floor. When she reached him, she stopped and studied his face for a long moment. "Commander Cole?" she asked. "Yes," Marcus said, "though I'm not sure that rank means much anymore. I'm Captain Yuki Tanaka of the ISV Reclaimer." She looked him up and down, taking in the alien robes and the crowd of non-human beings surrounding him. "What the hell happened here?" Marcus laughed. It was the first genuine laugh he had managed in months, and it felt wonderful. "I crashed," he said. "I passed out, and I woke up naked in front of an alien research team." He gestured at the gathered aliens. "Turns out, humanity's superpower was inside us all along." Tanaka blinked. "What superpower?" "We heal, Captain. We get hurt, we sleep it off, and we get back up." To them, he pointed at the Velith and Morthax and all the others watching with their strange eyes. "That makes us gods." "Not gods," a voice said from behind Marcus. He turned to find Kethra stepping forward, the translator humming softly in the scientist's hands. "Not gods," Kethra repeated, "but perhaps something better. Partners, teachers, friends." The Velith made a formal bow toward Captain Tanaka. "We welcome humanity to the Coalition. We have waited a long time for beings like you, even if we did not know it." Tanaka looked from Kethra to Marcus to the vast crowd of aliens. Marcus could see her trying to process everything, trying to understand how one crashed ship and one stranded commander had led to this moment. "This is going to change everything," she said quietly. "It already has," Marcus replied. In the weeks that followed, the Earth delegation settled into the station. Scientists from both sides began working together, studying human biology and searching for ways to adapt healing abilities for other species. It would take time, maybe decades or centuries, but the first steps were being taken. The Morthax were true to their word. They pledged their fleet to humanity's protection and began training exercises with Earth's military forces. The sight of the fierce Red Warriors working alongside human soldiers would have seemed impossible just months ago, but now it was becoming normal. Other species joined the alliance as well. The Velith shared their technology and knowledge. Smaller species who had lived in fear of the Morthax found new courage now that the warriors had found a cause beyond conquest. The coalition was growing stronger, united by hope instead of fear. Marcus remained at the center of it all, though not by choice. He had become the first human liaison, a title that had been created specifically for him. His job was to help his people understand the coalition and help the coalition understand his people. It was exhausting work. Endless meetings and negotiations and explanations. But every night, when Marcus returned to his quarters and looked out at the stars, he felt something he had not felt since the crash-purpose one evening as Marcus stood at his window watching ships come and go from the station. Kethra joined him. The Veloth scientist had become more than a colleague, more than a friend. They had been through something together that had changed them both. "Do you ever wonder," Kethra asked, "what would have happened if you had not crashed on our world?" Marcus thought about it. If the engine had not failed, if the Prometheus had continued on its mission, if he had never come to this planet at all, humanity would have found you eventually, he said. Or you would have found us. First contact would have happened one way or another. Perhaps, but it would have been different. Kethra looked up at him with those large, dark eyes. The first encounter between species shapes everything that follows. If we had met humans in a different way, we might have feared you. We might have seen your healing as a weapon rather than a gift. And now, we see you as hope. Kethra made the sound that Marcus had learned was a Veloth laugh. It is funny, is it not? You fell from the sky broken and bleeding. You lay naked and helpless on our soil. And from that moment of weakness came the greatest strength the Coalition has ever known. Marcus smiled. I was just trying to survive. You did more than survive, Marcus Cole. You changed the galaxy. Kethra reached out and touched Marcus's arm gently. And we are grateful. All of us more grateful than we can ever express. Outside the window, the stars shone cold and bright. Somewhere out there was Earth, the small blue planet that had given rise to creatures who could heal themselves without even thinking about it. Creatures who saw wounds as temporary inconveniences rather than death sentences. Creatures who got knocked down and got back up again as if it was the most natural thing in the world. Because for humans, it was Marcus had not known it when he crashed. He had not known it when he woke up surrounded by aliens. He had not known it when he showed them his healing arm or met with delegations from across the galaxy. But he knew it now. Humanity's greatest gift was not technology or intelligence or strength. It was something far simpler. Something that every human carried within them from the moment they were born. The ability to heal. The ability to recover. The ability to face damage and injury and pain and still keep going. To the rest of the galaxy that made humans extraordinary. And now, Marcus thought as he watched the ships flying past his window, it was time to share that gift with everyone who needed it. The universe would never be the same. But that, he was beginning to realize, was exactly the point. Marcus woke slowly, like swimming up from deep water. His head hurt, but not as badly as before. His body felt weak, but the burning fever was gone. He was lying on something soft, and warm light touched his closed eyelids. He opened his eyes. The ceiling above him was wide and curved, made of some material he did not recognize. It was not metal or plastic or wood. It looked almost organic, like the inside of a shell. Soft blue lights glowed along the edges, providing gentle illumination. Marcus tried to sit up and realized two things at once. First, he was still naked. Second, he was not alone. Beings surrounded him. Dozens of them. They stood in a wide circle around the platform where he lay, watching him with large, dark eyes. They were humanoid in shape, but clearly not human. Their skin was gray and smooth, without hair or wrinkles. Their bodies were thin and delicate, their limbs long and graceful. None of them were taller than his chest. Marcus's heart began to pound. He grabbed the soft material beneath him and pulled it up to cover himself. The aliens did not react. They simply continued to stare. One of them stepped forward. It wore robes of deep blue, different from the simple white garments of the others. In its long-fingered hands, it held a small device that hummed with a soft vibration. "You are awake," the alien said. Marcus blinked in surprise. The creature's mouth had moved, but the words came from the device in its hands. A translator, he realized. They had technology advanced enough to translate his language. "Where am I?" Marcus asked. His voice was rough and dry. "You are in our research center?" the alien replied. "We brought you here after we found you. You fell from the sky." "My ship crashed," Marcus said slowly. "My crew, they're all dead." The aliens exchanged looks. Their large eyes seemed to convey meaning that Marcus could not read. "We are sorry for your loss," the blue-robed alien said. "We watched your vessel break apart in our sky. We did not think anyone could survive such a thing." Marcus looked down at himself, remembering his injuries. He reached up to touch his head, expecting to find the wound that had been bleeding so badly. But his fingers found only smooth skin. A slight tenderness, yes, but the wound was closed, healed. "How long was I unconscious?" he asked. "One night cycle. Approximately 12 of your hours, based on the timekeeping device in your crashed vessel." 12 hours. Marcus frowned. The wound on his head had been deep. It should have needed stitches at the very least. It should not have healed in just 12 hours. "Did you treat my injuries?" he asked. The alien tilted its head. The movement reminded Marcus of a curious bird. "No," it said. "We did not." "Then how?" "That is what we wish to understand." The alien stepped closer, its dark eyes fixed on Marcus with intense focus. "We have studied your body through the night. We have scanned you with our instruments. We have observed you with great care. And we do not understand." Marcus felt a chill run down his spine, despite the warm air. "What don't you understand?" "Your wounds," the alien said. "They closed on their own. Without medicine, without treatment, without any intervention at all." The alien paused, and when it spoke again, its voice through the translator carried something that sounded like fear. "We have never seen anything like this." Marcus stared at the creature. "You mean, you've never seen healing before?" "Healing?" The alien repeated the word as if tasting it. "We do not know this word. Explain." "When you get hurt," Marcus said slowly, trying to find simple words, "your body fixes itself. It makes new skin, new blood, new tissue. It fights infection. It repairs damage. Over time, wounds close and bones mend. That's healing." The aliens around him began to make soft, chittering sounds. The blue-robed one held up a hand, and they fell silent. "You are saying," the alien said carefully, "that your body can repair itself? Without technology? Without medicine?" "Yes, all humans can do this. All living things on my planet can do this. It's normal. It's normal." The silence that followed was heavy and strange. The aliens stared at Marcus as if he had just told them he could walk through walls or breathe in space. "This is not possible," the blue-robed alien finally said. "In all our travels across the stars, in all our encounters with other species, we have never found a creature that can repair its own body. Wounds remain wounds until they are treated by medical technology. Damage remains damage until it is fixed by skilled healers with advanced tools. The body does not fix itself. It cannot." Marcus shook his head. "I don't understand. How do your people survive injuries? How do you recover from illness?" "With great difficulty," the alien admitted. "And often, we do not recover at all." It gestured to the other aliens in the room. "My name is Kethra. I am the lead scientist of this facility. These are my colleagues. We are Velith, and we are members of a coalition of species that spans many star systems." "I'm Marcus Cole," Marcus said. "I'm human, from a planet called Earth." "Human," Kethra repeated. "We have not heard of your kind before. You are new to us." "And you are," The alien paused, searching for words. "You are impossible." Marcus looked around at the gathered Velith. They were all staring at him with those huge, dark eyes. But now he understood what he was seeing in those eyes. It was not just curiosity. It was not just scientific interest, it was awe. And fear. "When we found you," Kethra continued, "you were covered in blood. The wound on your head was deep and serious. We have seen such wounds before, in our own people and in others. They are always fatal without immediate medical intervention." The alien's voice trembled slightly through the translator. "We prepared preservation rituals for your body. We assumed you would be dead within hours. We thought we would study your corpse to learn about your species." Marcus felt his stomach turn at the thought. "But then something happened," Kethra said. "Something that should not be possible. Your wound began to close. Your blood stopped flowing. Your body temperature rose and then fell again as if fighting something inside you. And when morning came, you opened your eyes and spoke to us." The alien stepped even closer. Close enough that Marcus could have reached out and touched it. "In one night," Kethra whispered, "you did what our best doctors with our most advanced technology could not do. You healed yourself. You came back from the edge of death through nothing but the power of your own body." Marcus swallowed hard. He had never thought of healing as anything special. It was just something bodies did. Something that happened automatically, without thought or effort. But looking at these aliens, seeing the wonder and terror in their eyes, he began to realize that he had been wrong. What was ordinary for humans was apparently a miracle to the rest of the galaxy. "I need to contact my people," Marcus said. "I need to let them know I'm alive." Kethra nodded slowly. "We will help you repair your communication equipment. But first, I must inform the Council about you. They will want to meet the creature that cannot die." "I can die," Marcus protested. "I'm not immortal. I just heal faster than you expected." Kethra made a sound that the translator could not interpret. It might have been a laugh or a cry or something in between. "To us," the alien said, "there is no difference." The days that followed were strange and wonderful and terrifying all at once. The Velith gave Marcus clothing, simple robes similar to their own, but sized for his larger body. They gave him food, strange fruits, and synthesized proteins that tasted better than he expected. They gave him a room in their research center, comfortable and private, with a window that looked out over a forest of glowing trees. But mostly, they gave him questions. Endless questions. Kethra visited him every day, accompanied by other scientists and doctors and specialists. They asked about human biology. They asked about Earth. They asked about evolution and genetics and medical science. They recorded everything Marcus said and played it back in meetings that lasted for hours. Marcus did his best to explain. He told them about white blood cells and antibodies. He told them about scabs and scar tissue. He told them about fevers and inflammation and the immune system. He drew diagrams on their strange writing tablets and used simple words that the translator could handle. The Velith listened with a hunger that made Marcus uncomfortable. They leaned forward when he spoke. They made notes with trembling hands. Some of them looked at him the way religious people looked at holy relics. "On your world," Kethra asked one afternoon, "do all creatures heal this way?" "Most of them," Marcus said. "Some heal faster than others. Some animals can regrow entire limbs. But yes, healing is universal on Earth. Regrow limbs?" Kethra's voice rose sharply. "You are joking with me." "No, there's a type of salamander, a small animal, that can regrow its legs if they're cut off. Some starfish can regrow their entire body from just one arm." The scientists sat in stunned silence for a long moment. "We have searched the galaxy for thousands of years," Kethra finally said. "We have found hundreds of intelligent species. We have cataloged millions of life forms on thousands of worlds. Never, in all that time, have we found anything like what you describe." "I don't understand," Marcus said. "How do your species survive without healing? How does any life survive?" Cathra stood and walked to the window. The alien's reflection was visible in the glass, those large dark eyes staring out at the glowing forest. "Life in the rest of the galaxy is fragile," Cathra said quietly. "When we are injured, the damage remains until we fix it with medicine and surgery. When we are sick, we must find the right treatment or die. Our bodies do not fight for us. They simply exist, and when they are broken, they stay broken." The alien turned back to face Marcus. "This is why technology is so important to us. This is why medical science is the most valued field in our coalition. This is why we build healing machines and develop repair treatments and spend enormous resources keeping our people alive. But that's—" Marcus struggled to find the words. "That's incredibly difficult. That's incredibly expensive." "Yes, it is. Many of our people die from injuries that would be minor inconveniences for you. A cut that becomes infected, a bone that does not set correctly, a disease that our treatments cannot cure." Cathra's voice was heavy with old grief. "We lose so many. We have always lost so many." Marcus thought about Earth, about the history of his own species. Humans had died from infections and injuries too, especially before modern medicine. But even then, many had survived. Their bodies had fought for them. Their wounds had healed. Their immune systems had protected them. He had always taken it for granted. Everyone on Earth took it for granted. Healing was just something that happened. It was not special. It was not miraculous. It was just life. But now he understood that it was not life. Not for most of the galaxy. It was a gift that humans had been given. A gift so incredible that other species could barely comprehend it. "I want to help you," Marcus said suddenly. "I want to help your people learn to heal." Cathra made a soft sound. "We have studied your blood. We have analyzed your cells. We have examined every part of you that we could examine without causing you harm. But we do not understand how your healing works. The mechanisms are beyond us. Then maybe my people can help explain. When you fix my communication equipment, when I can contact Earth, maybe we can send scientists and doctors who know more than I do." "We would welcome such an exchange," Cathra said. "But I must warn you, Marcus. Not everyone in the coalition will feel the same way." "What do you mean?" "News of you has spread. Word of the creature that fell from the sky and healed its own wounds. Different species are reacting in different ways." Cathra paused. "Some are curious. Some are hopeful. But many are afraid." Marcus frowned. "Afraid? Of what?" "Of you. Of your kind. Think about what your existence means to species that have never known healing. For thousands of years, we have understood that bodies are fragile. That damage is permanent. That life must be protected because it cannot protect itself. And now, suddenly, we learn that there is a species out there that does not share these limitations." The alien's voice dropped lower. "Some are asking questions that frighten me. If humans can heal from wounds, can they be killed at all? If humans can survive injuries that would destroy us, what would they be like in war? If we cannot hurt them, how can we defend ourselves against them?" Marcus felt a cold knot form in his stomach. "We're not invincible. We can be killed. We can be hurt badly enough that healing doesn't help. We're not some kind of super soldiers." "I believe you," Cathra said. "But not everyone will. Fear makes people see threats everywhere. And you, Marcus, are very easy to see as a threat." That night, Marcus could not sleep. He lay in his room, staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything Cathra had told him. He had crashed on this planet by accident. He had survived by luck. And now, without meaning to, he had become something that could change the entire galaxy. A symbol of hope to some, a source of terror to others. He thought about his crew, dead and gone, floating somewhere in the debris of the Prometheus. He thought about Earth, so far away that it might as well be in another universe. He thought about his family, his friends, everyone he had left behind when he joined the exploration program. Did they know he was alive? Were they searching for him? Or had they given him up for dead like all the others? Marcus closed his eyes and tried to find peace. His body was healed, but his mind was full of wounds that would take much longer to close. Outside his window, the alien forest glowed softly in the darkness. Somewhere in that forest, he had almost died. And somewhere out in the galaxy, beings he had never met were discussing what to do about him. He was no longer just a survivor. He was no longer just a stranded astronaut waiting for rescue. He was the first human that the galaxy had ever known. And that, Marcus was beginning to understand, was both a gift and a burden that he would carry for the rest of his life. The Velith. We're calling him the creature that could not die. They were wrong about that, of course. Marcus knew he would die eventually, like all humans did. But as he finally drifted off to sleep, he wondered if his legacy would last much longer. The knowledge of human healing was out there now, spreading through the Coalition's communication networks, changing how countless species saw the universe. There was no taking it back. There was no hiding it. The galaxy knew about humans now, and nothing would ever be the same. The delegation arrived without warning. Marcus was eating breakfast in his room when Kethra burst through the door, moving faster than he had ever seen a Velith move. The scientist's gray skin had turned pale, almost white, and those large dark eyes were wide with something that looked like panic. "They are here," Kethra said. "The Morthax. They came through the transit gate an hour ago, and they are demanding to see you." "The Morthax?" Marcus set down his food. "Who are they?" "Warriors. The most feared warriors in the Coalition." Kethra's hands were shaking. "They have conquered dozens of worlds. They have fought wars that lasted centuries. They are dangerous, Marcus. Very, very dangerous. And they want to see me? They want to see if the stories are true. They want to see the creature that heals." Marcus stood up slowly. He had known this moment would come eventually. The news had been spreading for weeks. It was only a matter of time before someone came to see the impossible human for themselves. "Take me to them," he said. Kethra made a sound of protest, but Marcus was already walking toward the door. He was tired of hiding in his room. He was tired of being studied and questioned and protected. If these Morthax wanted to see him, then he would let them see him. The delegation was waiting in the research center's main hall. There were 6 of them, and they were unlike any aliens Marcus had seen before. The Velith were small and delicate. These beings were large and powerful. They stood nearly as tall as Marcus, with bodies thick with muscle beneath armor that looked like it was made from the shells of giant insects. Their skin was red and scaled, their faces flat with wide mouths full of sharp teeth. Their eyes were yellow and fierce, like the eyes of predators. At their center stood one who was clearly their leader. He was the largest of them, covered in scars that Marcus now understood had never healed naturally. In his hand, he held a blade that curved like a claw. "So," the leader said, his voice deep and rumbling even through the translator. "You are the human." "I am," Marcus said. He kept his voice steady even though his heart was pounding. "I am General Krathker of the Morthax Empire. I have come a long way to see you." The general stepped closer, looking Marcus up and down with those predator eyes. "You do not look like a creature that cannot be killed." "I can be killed," Marcus said. "I just heal from wounds that don't kill me. Show me." The words hung in the air, The fellow scientists who had gathered at the edges of the hall made sounds of distress. Kethra stepped forward with hands raised. "General, please. He is our guest. We cannot allow you to harm him. I did not ask your permission, small one." Hrathgar did not even look at Kethra. His yellow eyes stayed fixed on Marcus. "I asked the human to show me." Marcus looked at the blade in the general's hand. He looked at the scars covering the warrior's body. He thought about what Kethra had told him about species that feared humanity's power. And he thought about what fear could do if it was left to grow. "A small cut," Marcus said. "On my arm. Nothing more." Kethra made a sound of protest. "Marcus, no. You do not have to do this." "I know," Marcus said. "But I want to." He held out his arm. The general's eyes widened slightly, surprised by the human's willingness. Then Hrathgar stepped forward and, with careful precision, drew his blade across Marcus's forearm. The cut was shallow but clean. Blood welled up immediately, bright red against Marcus's pale skin. The Morthax warriors leaned in, watching with intense focus. The Veloth scientists watched too, though some of them looked away. Marcus held his arm up so everyone could see. "Now we wait," he said. They waited. Minutes passed. The blood flow slowed, then stopped. The edges of the cut began to change, the flesh pulling together as if drawn by invisible threads. A thin scab formed, dark and protective. "Impossible," one of the Morthax warriors whispered. "No," Marcus said. "Just different." General Hrathgar reached out and touched the forming scab with one clawed finger. He pulled his hand back as if burned. "In all my years of war," the general said slowly, "I have seen wounds like this kill thousands. I have seen warriors die from cuts no deeper than this one because infection took hold and spread. I have seen armies fall because their soldiers could not recover from the damage of battle." The general's voice grew heavy with emotion that Marcus had not expected. "My own son died from a wound like this. A training accident. A blade that slipped. The cut was small, but it would not stop bleeding. Our doctors did everything they could, but it was not enough. He was 12 years old." Silence fell over the hall. Marcus looked at the general and saw, beneath the fierce exterior, a grief that had never healed because Morthax bodies could not heal. "I'm sorry," Marcus said. "I'm truly sorry." "Your people," Hrathgar said. "Where are they? Can they teach us? Can they help us survive?" And suddenly, Marcus understood why the general had really come. Not to threaten, not to study, not to conquer, but to hope. "I don't know if we can teach you to heal," Marcus said honestly. "It's built into our bodies at a level we don't fully understand. But maybe, if our scientists work with yours, we can find ways to help. Gene therapy? Medical technology? Something." General Hrathgar dropped to one knee. The movement was so sudden and unexpected that Marcus took a step back. Behind the general, the other Morthax warriors knelt as well. "If you can do this," Hrathgar said, "if you can give my people even a fraction of what you have, then the Morthax will be eternally in humanity's debt. We will be your allies, your protectors, your brothers in arms." Marcus looked at the kneeling warriors. He looked at the watching Veloth. He thought about Earth, so far away, and about how his people had no idea what was happening here. "Stand up," Marcus said gently. "Please, we don't need you to kneel. We just need you to give us a chance." The general rose. His yellow eyes were wet with something that might have been tears. "You have my word," Hrathgar said. "Whatever your people need, the Morthax will provide. Ships, protection, resources, whatever it takes to bring humans and their healing to the galaxy." Word of the meeting spread quickly. Other species began sending their own delegations. Some came with fear, demanding that Marcus be contained or studied or even destroyed. But more came with hope. Species that had lost millions to untreatable injuries. Species that lived in constant terror of accidents and illness. Species that saw in humanity's healing a chance for a better future. Marcus met with all of them. He answered their questions. He showed them his arm, now fully healed with only a faint scar to show where the blade had cut. He told them about Earth and about humans and about the ordinary miracle of bodies that could repair themselves. And slowly, one meeting at a time, fear began to transform into something else. Wonder. Gratitude. Alliance. Marcus was no longer just a survivor. He was no longer just a curiosity. He was becoming something he had never expected to be. A bridge between species. A symbol of hope. An ambassador for a humanity that did not even know it needed one. The galaxy was changing because of him. And he was changing along with it.